I always find it strange how certain memories resurface at the most random moments. Like this morning, for instance, before everything spiraled into the kind of truth I still don't know how to carry. I was brushing my teeth, staring at myself in the mirror, when I suddenly remembered something stupid from when I was 12. I had spent the whole weekend building this crooked science fair volcano. I knew it wasn't perfect. It leaned to one side like it was tired of existing. But I had tried hard, and for a kid like me, trying hard was already a victory. When my name was called for an honorable mention, I remember smiling so wide it hurt. And then I remember my mom looking down at me afterward, shrugging, saying, "Well, it's not really winning, Josh. But at least it's something." That memory hit me out of nowhere this morning, like a stray bullet I didn't see coming. I remember rinsing my mouth and thinking, why the hell did that come back now? Maybe it was because I was planning to visit my parents later that day, something I wasn't doing as often as I used to. Being 22 and finally getting a taste of adult independence does that. Distance becomes easier. Silence becomes safer. But if I'm being honest, something in me has always tightened whenever I walk back into that house. It's like stepping into a role I never auditioned for. The quiet, invisible kid. The one who blended into the walls. The one who tried to be grateful for crumbs. And maybe that's exactly why, later that afternoon, when my parents said I had never won anything in this house, it cut far deeper than it should have. Maybe that old volcano memory was my warning sign, a subconscious nudge telling me to brace myself. But I didn't listen. I walked right into the storm. When I got to my parents' house, everything looked the same. That damn beige siding. The overwatered bushes. The wind chime my mom swore had sentimental value, even though I never saw her look at it lovingly a day in her life. The smell inside was familiar too, cleaner, lemony, too strong, like it was trying to cover something up. Some days, I wondered if the house itself was trying to hide secrets. Turns out it was, but not in the way I imagined. My sister, Lindsay, was there, of course. She's 25, already married, successful, everything my parents ever wanted in a child. Growing up with her was like growing up beside a spotlight, bright enough to blind everyone around it. Meanwhile, I was just there. The second draft nobody asked for. I walked into the kitchen and found all three of them sitting around the table. Lindsay laughed at something my dad said, and my mom smirked proudly at her, as if the two of them shared some private joke about the world. Maybe about me. "Hey," I said, setting my keys on the counter. My mom looked up. "Oh, Josh. You're here." Every time she said my name, it felt like she was reminding herself who I was. My dad gave me a nod. Lindsay waved. I sat down, hoping for a normal afternoon, maybe even a peaceful one. But peace is never something I've been given freely, not in that house. I don't know how the conversation drifted into old childhood stories. Lindsay started bragging about all the trophies stored in the hallway cabinet, her medals, her ribbons, her achievements. My parents chimed in with their proud recollections. And then, out of nowhere, my mom looked at me and laughed lightly. "You never won anything here, Josh." "Not really." She said it like it was harmless. Like it was some kind of joke. But something about the way the words left her mouth, sharp, dismissive, deliberate, made my chest tighten. And then my dad added, "Well, he wasn't much of a competitive kid. Not everyone's built for that." I felt the familiar heat rise in my face. That quiet, choking embarrassment I knew too well. I don't lose my temper easily, not in front of them anyway. But this time, something inside me cracked. Maybe because I was tired. Maybe because I was done pretending those tiny wounds didn't matter. "I did win things," I said quietly. "You just don't remember." My mom raised an eyebrow. "Like what?" The room went still. Lindsay looked at me like I was speaking a foreign language. "I don't know," I said. "Stuff at school." Art competitions. A reading contest once. You guys didn't go. But I still. Oh, that, my mom interrupted. That wasn't important. The way she dismissed it so instantly, so effortlessly, made something old and heavy churn inside me. I swallowed hard, trying not to let my voice shake. Why do you always act like nothing I ever did mattered? I asked. My dad sighed. Josh, don't start. I'm not starting anything. I'm asking. We're not doing this, he said, raising his hand. And there it was. The sentence they used to shut down my entire existence, we're not doing this. It took everything in me not to walk out the door immediately. But something deeper, darker, quieter told me to stay. Something I can only describe as intuition, like the edge of a curtain was finally lifting and I needed to look behind it. I stayed for another 10 minutes. They changed the subject. I nodded. Pretended to be fine. But inside, something had already snapped. I don't know how I made it back to my apartment. I barely remember the drive. My thoughts ran in every direction, trying to find some explanation for why my own parents seemed so adamant about painting me as forgettable. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept hearing her voice, "You never won anything here." Not really. It sounded less like an insult, and more like a statement of fact. Like something she believed so strongly that she needed to say it out loud. The next morning, just when I thought the worst of it had settled, the letter arrived. It was a small envelope, yellowed at the edges, like it had been sitting somewhere for years. My name was handwritten on the front, my name, not my parents', and the handwriting wasn't familiar. The ink had faded slightly, but the strokes were deliberate. Careful. Almost gentle. There was no return address. My chest tightened as I tore the envelope open, half expecting it to be some scam or random flyer. But inside was a folded sheet of paper, and when I pulled it out, I noticed something strange. The paper was thick, textured, like something from an old office or institution. The kind of paper that matters. I unfolded it. The first line froze me in place. "Congratulations on your achievement, Joshua Reed." My breath caught. Reed wasn't my last name. Not legally. Not the last name of the family I grew up with. But it meant something, something I didn't yet understand. I kept reading. "You were selected as the recipient of the Caldwell Academic Promise Award. Your early aptitude and emotional intelligence set you apart. Your future is bright, and this award is only the beginning. Caldwell." The name felt heavy. Important. I scanned the paper for a date. It was from 17 years ago. I was 5. My heart hammered so hard I could feel it in my teeth. Why would someone send me this now? Who kept it all these years? Why wasn't it sent to my parents 17 years ago? Or, was it? A cold realization crept in. Maybe it had been. Maybe it was never meant to reach me. My hands trembled slightly as I turned the paper over, searching for anything else. A signature. A clue. At the bottom, written in that same careful handwriting, was a name. Henry Caldwell. I didn't recognize it, but the last name alone made something shift inside me. Like a puzzle piece had been quietly dropped onto the table, waiting for me to find where it fit. I spent the next hours rereading the letter, analyzing every line as if the meaning might change on the 10th read-through. It didn't. The words were clear, unmistakable. I had won something, something meaningful. Something tied to my identity. Something my parents had erased from my life. And the first thought that came to me wasn't anger. It was confusion. Why would they hide a letter like this? Why would they bury it so deep that it only resurfaced 17 years later? The child in me, the part one never allowed to speak, ached suddenly. How many other things had they buried? How many times had they told me I was less because they needed that lie to stay true? By midday, I couldn't sit still anymore. I grabbed my jacket and drove back to their house. My heartbeat was loud, insistent, like it was trying to push me forward. When I walked inside, my parents and Lindsay were in the living room, watching a rerun of some home renovation show. The atmosphere looked normal. Ordinary. Like everything in my life wasn't unraveling. My mom turned. "Josh. Did you forget something?" I held the letter in my hand, and for a brief second, I considered showing it to them immediately. But something deep inside whispered, "Not yet. Watch how they react first." Did you guys ever? I don't know, keep any letters or awards of mine? From when I was a kid? I asked carefully. My dad frowned. Why? Just wondering. My mom shook her head, a little too fast. No. You didn't really get things like that. My stomach dropped. What about something from a Caldwell Foundation? Or someone named Henry Caldwell? I asked. Her eyes flicked away, quick as lightning. She knew something. I don't know who that is, she said sharply. Are you sure? I asked. Her jaw tightened. Josh, what is this about? You tell me, I said softly. Silence wrapped around us, thick and uncomfortable. Lindsay glanced nervously between us. What's going on? But my mom kept her gaze locked on me, like she was silently warning me to stop. That's when I realized something vital. Whatever they were hiding, they had no intention of letting it surface. And that's when the anger finally hit. Not the explosive, screaming kind. No. This was quiet anger. The kind that makes every breath feel heavier. The kind that comes from years of being told who you are by people who never really saw you. I stepped back. I'll come later, I said. My dad called after me, Josh. Don't be dramatic. But I kept walking. When I got back to my apartment, something inside me shifted. My hands were still shaking as I pulled the letter from my pocket and placed it on my desk. It sat there like a challenge, daring me to uncover what they had spent decades hiding. I sat down and opened my laptop. I typed Henry Caldwell into the search bar. That's when I found the first thread, an article from years ago about a philanthropist who died in a car accident. A philanthropist who had spent decades funding programs for children, particularly those navigating adoption systems. The word adoption jumped out at me. It didn't make sense. But at the same time, it made too much sense. As the page loaded, I stared at the screen, feeling something unfamiliar inside me. Not fear. Not sadness. Recognition. Like somewhere deep in my bones, I already knew the truth I was about to find. I clicked on the article. And that was the moment everything began to unravel. The article about Henry Caldwell wasn't long, but every sentence felt like it was tightening something inside my chest. It talked about how he dedicated most of his life to supporting children who didn't have stable families, how he funded schools and small scholarship programs so kids could have a chance at a better life. There was even an old photograph of him, gray hair, kind eyes, a gentle smile that felt strangely familiar in a way I couldn't explain. The more I read, the more something in my memory tugged at me, like a whisper from a place I wasn't supposed to remember. But then there was a line that made my breath stop. He is survived by no known children. I read it twice. 3 times. The words didn't make sense. Why would someone who had no children of his own write to me when I was 5? Why congratulate me on something tied to a foundation he funded? And why was my last name different on the letter? Reed. I had been Josh Reed in that letter. But I wasn't Reed. I was Josh Turner. Or, that's who I thought I was. A shiver went through my spine. I closed the laptop slowly, as if the truth might leak out of the screen and swallow me whole. I wanted to call someone, anyone, but who was there? My parents wouldn't tell me the truth. Lindsay wouldn't know. And I didn't have anyone else in my life who could tell me where I came from. So I did what I've always done, I tried to figure it out myself. I grabbed the letter again and held it up to the light. The paper was thick, textured, like something you'd find in an old office or a legal file. The edges were slightly worn. And the handwriting, it wasn't rushed. It was slow, thoughtful. Someone had cared enough to write every letter with intention. The feeling of being watched by my own past grew stronger. I turned the envelope inside out, searching for anything else, an imprint, a symbol, a clue. And that's when I saw it, a faint stamp on the inside flap, one so faded it was almost invisible. I brought it close to my face. It read, Caldwell Family Center for Child Placement. Child placement. Everything inside me sank. I didn't know what to do with that. Even thinking the word adoption felt wrong, like it didn't belong to me, but also like it had been waiting for me all along. I felt the same tightening in my chest I used to feel as a kid whenever my parents shut down my questions. Something inside me whispered, don't believe everything you were told. Look deeper. So I did. I spent hours digging through every corner of the internet, old articles, scanned documents, forgotten PDFs stored in digital archives. Most of what I found was administrative, boring. But then I found a small page from an old local newspaper, dated around the time I was 5. It was about a children's program. The article listed a few names of outstanding participants who received special recognition at an event funded by Caldwell's Foundation. And there it was. Joshua Reed, age 5. My breathing slowed. My eyes blurred for a moment as I tried to understand what I was seeing. It was unmistakable. My name. Or, the name I used to have. The name I didn't know belonged to me. 1,000 thoughts crashed into each other inside my head. Had my parents taken me in? Fostered me? Adopted me? Stolen me? Was I removed from another family? Did someone give me up? Or did someone fight for me? The worst part was that I couldn't ask the only people who should have told me the truth. They'd just lie again. I knew it in my bones. But somewhere inside that fear, there was anger too. Anger that I had been living a borrowed identity. Anger that they'd ripped away everything that made me me, even when I was just a child who didn't know any better. That night, sleep was impossible. I kept seeing the word Reed burned behind my eyelids. It felt like both a stranger and a part of me I had lost. By morning, something in me had changed. I wasn't scared anymore. I was determined. I was going to find out who I really was. I drove to the Caldwell Family Center, hoping, praying, that it still existed. The building looked tired when I arrived, like it was holding on to its last few years. The sign was peeling. The parking lot was cracked. But inside, there was a small office with mismatched chairs and faded posters about family programs. A woman in her 60s sat behind the desk, wearing a floral blouse and reading glasses that hung on a chain. Her name tag said, Carol. She looked up. Hi there. Can I help you? My mouth felt dry. I hope so. I think I was connected to this place a long time ago. When I was a kid. She gave me a gentle smile. What's your name, honey? My throat tightened around the truth. But I forced the words out anyway. I don't know, I said quietly. At least, not the name I had when I was little. Her smile faded. Concern replaced it. Why don't you sit down? I handed her the letter. Her eyes widened slightly. She adjusted her glasses and read it slowly, as if the words carried weight she remembered. When she finished, she looked at me, not casually, not politely, but with a kind of recognition I didn't understand. Where did you get this? She asked softly. It was mailed to me yesterday. She exhaled, long and heavy, like someone carrying the burden of a truth they never wanted to reveal. Josh, do you know who Henry Caldwell was to you? I shook my head, though I wasn't sure I wanted to hear the answer. He wasn't just the founder of this place, she said. He sponsored you. Personally. My heart dropped. Sponsored? I whispered. He believed in certain children, she said. Ones he saw potential in. Ones he cared about. He wasn't just a donor, he was connected emotionally to some of the kids. And you were one of them. I blinked slowly, trying to keep up with the storm of meaning behind her words. Why would he do that? Why me? She hesitated, and that hesitation felt like a knife. Because, she said quietly, you were placed here under special circumstances. I felt like the air had been sucked out of the room. What circumstances? I demanded. She swallowed hard. Josh, you weren't abandoned. You weren't given up. Someone fought very hard for you. The floor seemed to tilt beneath me. Who? My voice cracked. Who fought for me? She looked at me with eyes that carried too much sadness, too much knowledge. Henry Caldwell. My breath slipped out of me like I'd been punched. He wanted to adopt you, she continued gently. He filed the initial paperwork. You were going to become Joshua Reed Caldwell. My knees weakened. I gripped the edge of the chair. But, he died, she whispered. A sudden accident. Before the adoption went through. I stared at her, unable to move, unable to breathe. My entire body felt like it wasn't mine. And after that, she said, choosing her words carefully, another family took you. The Turners. My parents. The same people who said I never won anything. The same people who kept me in the shadows. The same people who buried the letter that proved someone once believed I was worth something. I squeezed my hands together. Did they adopt me? I asked. Legally. Her lips pressed together. That's the part that always troubled me. There were irregularities. Gaps in paperwork. Things that didn't add up. Cold fear ran through me. What are you saying? She took a deep breath. I'm saying I don't know if they were supposed to take you. I felt something inside my chest collapse. A quiet, internal breaking that felt like the shattering of years of confusion. It made sense. Too much sense. The way my parents never talked about my early childhood. The way they dismissed every accomplishment. The way they reacted when I mentioned the name Caldwell. The way they told me I had never won anything in their house. Because in their house, I hadn't. I left the family center with a stack of photocopied documents, old forms with my name on them, records from when I was 5, mentions of Caldwell's sponsorship. But the piece that haunted me the most was a faded photograph of myself as a little kid. I was smiling in the picture. Truly smiling. And I didn't recognize the kid I once was. When I got back to my apartment, I sat on the floor with everything spread in front of me. I stared at the photograph for almost an hour. Part of me wanted to rip it up, pretend none of this was real. But another part, the louder part, wanted answers. That night, I made a decision I should have made years ago. I drove to my parents' house again. This time, I didn't knock. I walked straight in. My mom stood up quickly from the couch, startled. Josh. What's going on? I dropped the papers onto the coffee table. The letter landed on top. My dad's eyes widened. Lindsay covered her mouth. I stared at them, my voice steady but shaking beneath the surface. You knew, I said. All these years. You knew who I was. My mom's face drained of color. Josh. Don't lie, I snapped. Not this time. My dad stood up. We did what we had to do. No, I said, feeling the heat in my face. You did what you wanted to do. There's a difference. My mom reached for the letter, but I moved it away. You took me, I whispered. From a man who cared about me. From a life I was supposed to have. You were 5, my dad said. You wouldn't have understood any of it. Caldwell was unstable. He had money but no real structure. He loved me, I said firmly. He believed in me. He wanted me. And you buried that. You took everything from me. Even my name. My mom's eyes filled with tears. We raised you. We gave you a home. You gave me a house, I said. Not a home. Silence hung over the room like smoke. Lindsay whispered, I didn't know. I believed her. But I didn't believe them. My dad sat down slowly. Josh, we didn't think he was right for you. We thought you'd be better off with us. And was I? I asked. Did you ever make me feel wanted? Special? Loved? You didn't even let me keep the letter. My mom covered her face with her hands. But I didn't feel sorry. Not this time. You didn't just hide my past, I whispered. You erased it. No one spoke. No one moved. And for the first time in my life, I wasn't the quiet one in the room, I was the one holding all the truth. I picked up the letter. The one thing they couldn't destroy this time. I'm done, I said softly. I'm done living a life built on secrets I never asked for. I walked to the door, but right before I stepped out, I turned back. And you were wrong, I said. I did win something once. Something big. I just wasn't in your house long enough to keep it. I left before any of them could answer. When I got to my apartment, I sat on my bed with the letter in my hands. I thought about the boy I used to be, the boy Caldwell believed in, the boy who had a future someone fought for. And for the first time in years, I felt like maybe he was still inside me somewhere. I looked at the letter again, at the name Reed, and whispered it softly to myself. A name that was mine before they took it. A name that still felt alive. Joshua Reed. And in that moment, I felt something shift inside me. Not pain. Not anger. Identity. For the first time in my life, I felt like I was meeting myself. The real me. If you've listened this far, maybe you understand why I needed to tell this story. Not for sympathy. Not for validation. But because sometimes the truth is the only thing that can rebuild what was stolen from you. I don't know what comes next for me. I don't know what parts of my life I'll have to relearn or reclaim. But I do know this, I'm finally living as myself. Not the son they shaped out of silence, but the person I was supposed to be. And if this story finds you at a moment when you're questioning who you are, I hope it reminds you that the truth, no matter how heavy, sets you free.